So, Dr. Kat Schreier with the Water Show and WaterCitizen News. You talked a lot about the opportunity gap, and as well as talking about rural areas. And we're looking at some things going on in the Central Valley as a microcosm of water stress in rural areas, and the economic aspects and the security aspects associated with that. How does transportation play into that issue?
Well, can we go over here?
Sure, absolutely.
I feel like we're in the middle of that.
Sure.
Well, the one thing we are looking at is, making the proper investments to ensure that everybody gets connected. One of the things that as we talk about investments, most people that live in cities think about urban solutions. I think it's important for all of us to keep in mind that we want to connect all Americans, including the rural areas. In terms of, what else can we do? We have been very focused on utilizing technology and innovation to bring to the table new solutions, ideas that maybe none of us have ever thought about. You tend to talk to the choir, if you will. And so one of the things we have been doing is bringing to the table non-traditional transportation related services. For example, we think about Google, we think about Paul Allen's foundation, Vulcan, that's also going to be at the table with us. There are people who are bringing to the table some solutions that maybe in the past we would not have been discussing. And so that's, I think, part of what we all need to do in transportation is to reach out to the non-traditional elements and components to see how do we connect to not only within transportation, not just the neighborhoods, but the other infrastructure. I think you're aware of the concerns that we have had, things that have affected us, the Aliso Canyon, in California, where we had underground storage leakage for a long time. And in fact, that's something that falls under the purview of USDOT. Traditionally, people didn't think about that. So we're working with Congress to hopefully get some authorities that our pipeline agency would have more authority to actually execute solutions that should have been executed much faster in that arena.
And you talked in particular about opportunity, the opportunity gap, and obviously a lot of the farm workers are at the lower end of the spectrum economically. How does that play into the picture in terms of better transportation in rural areas for farmer workers?
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like I said, trying to connect the rural communities to the rest of the market. Looking at solutions, for example, are there rail solutions that would help farmers, get their product to market? Looking at, I know in the past a lot of folks have been thinking about, when it comes to investments, if you're going to increase certain funding elements, how do you provide some kind of a relief for farmers in rural America? People that actually would have to travel more by vehicle as opposed to others that have other options. So there are some ideas that have been discussed. I think, as I mentioned in my comments, we're not forgetting rural America. That's a very important component for all of us. The other thing, although I didn't mention it in my comments today, the tribal elements. They have a very unique set of circumstances that we have been working on for many years. My background, having come from Arizona, spent a lot of time working on tribal issues, because in Arizona we had, I think, it was 22 federally sanctioned tribal governments. And so we had to deal with them because they have some unique aspects that you have to deal with.
Right. And finally, we're looking at the food security issues around places like Central Valley when they're under additional water stress and socioeconomic stress, but also the fact that is one of the areas that really feeds the nation. So how do we integrate transportation into that aspect?
Well, I haven't thought through the security aspect. I think most of what we have been thinking about is, how do you get a product to the market in the most efficient manner to make sure that, the farmers actually can make a decent living. And so those are the issues that we have focused on. On the security aspects, I think that's really more out of our bailiwick, but certainly something that as the administration we have been thinking about very seriously.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
I wanted to ask you about the freight grants under the FAST Act. I know that the deadline was a few weeks ago.
Right.
I'm wondering what sort of numbers of applications were you getting from states? Did you get at least one from every state?
Yeah, I don't have that detail with me. I believe that we had over 200 applications. And so the process is underway to evaluate all that. I don't, I probably, to give me your card,
Sure.
I'll run some numbers back to you.
Yeah.
When you couple that with the Tiger grants, Tiger, I believe, we received over 800 applications. So
It's for this year's.
for this year.
Right.
And so the timeline for both of those significant projects that appear to be very popular, we will be making awards this summer.
For both.
For both. And so we have our teams evaluating all the applications. They're very focused on this.